And baby, I'm TFC till I die.
Hello and welcome to Toronto Till I Die, the Toronto FC fan show. I'm Mike Newell, and it's been another week. A friendly's been played, and people are starting to get a little panicky about the state of the roster. We'll talk a little bit this week about obviously the 2-0 friendly win against John Buck, which I am going to horribly mispronounce a few times. So I'm sure people in the comments will make sure I pronounce that team's name correctly. Our fans, is it time to be a little concerned about how the roster rebuild for the 2026 season is going? We'll talk a little bit about that. Some standouts from the friendly win. We'll also look at some young players that could potentially make an impact on this TFC roster this year. We'll go through a random Red of the Week, and I'm sure there's some other malarkey that will come up in this podcast. With me, as always, Jeffrey P. Nesker and Michael Singh. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Good, I'm not gonna lie. I thought we'd have a lot more to talk about when we said, "Hey, let's do this show." But yeah, we're good. I'm sure we'll find some stuff to banter about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we kind of thought we might have a new striker. Still waiting.
Yeah. I mean, I do mean just watched one of the Norwich City fan podcast clips on YouTube. Started to read the comments, and yeah, things are getting pretty dicey over there. They don't like us very much.
It's a weird situation to me because, like, clubs make bids on players all the time. Right?
I mean, I think they're butthurt because of what Josh Sargent did, and that I can 100%.
Yeah, what does that got to do with TFC fans though? Like, we're not the ones who just
but the misplaced kind of anger, it's forget about it's called football, not soccer, because that's absolute BS. But this idea that this idea that he's not a diminishing asset, this idea that they're okay to pay his salary while he languishes training with the U21s, this idea that he's worth the same as he was 6 months ago when Werder Bremen came in, and this inability to comprehend that inexplicably you have the most powerful currency in the world. I don't know why. I don't think they know why, but you have to do the math when you're talking in British pounds and you're dealing with international transfers. It's kind of on you to have a little bit of empathy to the guys that are basically playing double than what's written on the box, and I find that to be totally ignorant. So those are my pet peeves about this situation. But as Turt says, it really is the dumbest situation ever.
It is a very dumb situation.
It's so dumb, and I'm embarrassed for us being in it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into it in a moment in terms of the signing stuff. So let's maybe just park that for a few minutes here. On the bright side, TFC played an actual football match. Now it was a preseason game. So what you could draw out of that, I don't know. But 2-0 win over Jeon Buk, the Korean Division 1 champions from the last season. I don't know how many sickos in this room got up on Saturday morning at 8:00 to watch it. I did as well.
I was in front of a television. Was I awake? The verdict's still out on that.
I was pretty good. I got up and I was just I woke up. I didn't set an alarm, thank God. I just naturally woke up at 7:30, 8. And had a life decision to make. It was okay, am I going to actually do this to myself? Or am I just going to roll over and go back to sleep like a normal human would on a Saturday when you don't have to work? And I got up and watched a grainy Marbella Training Center
that
stream
wind noise was something
Toronto
else.
FC.
That was I mean, honestly, that would have kept me up if I had not been extra sleepy. But I had to be up for Gunners at 10 anyway on Saturday. So when you think about it, it was only really a 2-hour window there. But yeah, yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But I mean, look, a nice 2-0 win. The team was in control for most of the game, never really in any trouble. And we can go through the goals. Georgi Mihailovic with the opener. Richie Larea looking like the fittest and right now arguably
Yeah.
the best player, maybe
In the
aside
world.
from Silas, for TFC right now, scoring the second, just basically like just gunning past one of the jumbo midfielders who actually like if he had connected on that tackle, that could have been a horror tackle from behind.
Oh yeah, it would have been Richie's third season missing significant
but
minutes
Richie
at the
just too
stop.
strong, just too fit, blowing by him for the second goal.
Just too Richie.
My takeaway, I really love the first goal. Like I really love the idea of the press, winning the ball back, some really nice connective play up top, some really nice understanding between Sifu and Georgi Mihailovic for the goal. But generally, your guys' thought on this friendly that kind of means nothing, but maybe kind of gleans a little something. Mike, I'll start with you.
First thought was surprised to see Richie start at left wing back. Like interesting role for Richie. I liked it given they were able to slot in someone like Kosi Thompson, who at times, man, like even I'll be guilty of this, doesn't get enough love for the player he's kind of grown into. God, it kind of has a little bit of that Richie in him. He's got that compete, that toughness. Yeah, really, really solid display down the right flank. But circling back to Richie, I love him at left wing left wing back because he's able to get up and down the field with pace. And, as we saw in his second goal, can drive with the ball at his feet. Not a lot of TFC players can really do that, like run through lines, I would say. We don't have too many that really play that style, but Richie's capable of doing that, bringing that element. And he's one of a few players really in Major League Soccer that can do that can effectively, take a overlapping run, take you down to the touchline at the bottom, and yet still make it back to make a recovery defensive run and help your team out. Like the amount of ground that he covers, battle compete, his ability to play in all different parts of the pitch. I mean, he came on the second half or I guess 60th, 70th minute and started playing as a center mid, like just showing his versatility. So yeah, you mentioned it, like super impressed with Richie. Interested to see exactly how they deploy Richie. It's an option for them, but I don't know if that's their first option. Obviously, yeah, we have Matias Pereira. We have potential more signings coming in that could fill that void and play that role and slot Richie back to his natural, right wing back side. But really cool to see the way that they, set up for the first time, and that ability to shift from a back three to a back four, I think is it's going to present a lot of challenges for a lot of different teams if TFC are able to be smart and nimble enough to adjust and not cause too many gaps.
Yeah, and it was interesting. We talked a little bit about this last week about what could Richie's best role on this team be, and you had mentioned kind of jokingly, like half serious, about him potentially being a left winger, and I mean, given sort of where look, like there's going to be signings coming. We're going to talk about it in a second, but there will be signings coming. But is this kind of what we're going to see? Richie, he's going to kind of play kind of where the team needs him on every match week. He could be a right winger one week. He could be a right back another week. Based on an opponent, he might be center back. They could put him on the left based on a certain matchup. Is that what we're going to see out of Richie? And is that maybe the best way to use him in this team?
Potentially. Like, I mean, when you look at him when he goes to the national team, like he's kind of a little bit left wing back, at times even left wing, right wing back. Like, I mean, hasn't really been used as a center mid for a national team, but he still is a player. No matter where you play him, he's going to be able to bring significant quality and just elevate the overall profile of your team. So potentially, Mike, like there's a lot of different depending on who is playing, who's available, it makes sense to slot Richie into different positions because you have guys like Kosi Thompson who can slide in at right back. Maybe Henry Wingo can slide in at right back. Maybe Kobe Franklin has shown enough where he can slot in at right back. So they have other options that are at least replacement level, rotational level players that they can slot in at that right back position. So it doesn't need to just be Richie. He can kind of slide around and strengthen the overall profile of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
I mean, I still remember, criticisms about Richie not being able to make chemistry with like Theo, or how much we missed his instant chemistry with Federico Bernardeschi when he was still playing on the right. So I guess my question is, as devil's advocate, is, are we willing to sacrifice those relationships, or should we not even be concerned? Richie's the kind of player that can establish that kind of chemistry, as proven out, as long as he stays healthy, with pretty much anybody on the pitch that's willing to meet him halfway. So maybe it's a nothing burger, and we do need a Nick DeLeon, right? Or a Nico Hassler. They were all unnamed Nick for a while, but like we do, or a Tsubasa Endo, also we do need a Swiss Army knife that can have utility across all the positions, and Richie seems to be that guy for us, and that's great. I mean, if he's the best player on the pitch, and he certainly is making a good case for it, you use him like the best player on the pitch.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it, right? Like, he has his set position when TFC have their best 11, and if injuries or absences pop up for whatever reason, you have the ability, just gives Robin Fraser more options to move players around. So more than content and more than happy, honestly, the way that he played with them trying stuff like this out. I don't think Richie needs time to acclimate to right back, to your point, Jeff, or like he needs time to acclimate to left wing. Like, he's shown that he can be dropped in anywhere on the pitch virtually and give a solid 8-9
exactly
every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought just as a debut, I mean, again, Walker Zimmerman looked solid. Again, not a lot of work for him to do necessarily, but I think from just being a solid, center back, you could hear him talking.
Good on the ball, right?
Very good on the ball. Very good on the ball. I noticed that as well.
He picked some passes that broke some lines, which, TFC center backs haven't really been able to in recent years. And I thought he did that quite well too.
Yeah. And I mean, again, it's one of those things where you can't really draw too much out of this game, but when you just look at some small things, again, I kind of looked at it more from just an overall team performance, especially with the first team for the first sort of 60 minutes. I mean, it was a full line change after that. And you saw some of the younger players come in. But what I really liked about what I saw was the idea that, one of the things we talked about last season and seasons past is, the press being very uneven or unorganized, right? One person's going, other guys aren't really firing at the right times. Therefore, the press gets broken easily and away the other team goes, and usually with a ball in the back of the net. I found that this team was much more cohesive in the way that they applied that press. And then if they did get broken, we're able to recover and really cover those spaces that were open. The other guys were making the right runs, were making the right reads defensively. And I thought that is encouraging. I don't know if that obviously we'll see against MLS competition. I mean, they don't play MLS competition in this entire preseason. So we'll find out on February 21st what this really kind of looks like in real life. But, just for that sampling, I thought they looked pretty good organizationally. They lost control a little bit at times in that first half. But again, nothing that was, concerning in terms of like a sustained amount of pressure or a lot of sort of mistakes where guys didn't look like they knew what their role was on the team.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the tempo, my caveat is this: the tempo was like 70% throughout.
Yeah.
Like a standard, like I don't think anybody ever reached like 8 out of 10 on the speed scale. So, can Walker Zimmerman make those line breaking passes at a proper game tempo? That remains to be seen. They certainly had a lot more time to make those on field decisions. And I think for the most part, they were correct. So, once it gets accelerated, let's hope that maintains. They'd certainly looked a lot closer to the team that beat Orlando on our decision day than you know, the team that the preseason TFC that we're so used to seeing over the last 5 seasons, right? And that's great. And Robin looks really happy, which is awesome, right? And maybe that's just he gets to play golf all the time, but he looks pretty happy and rested, and like he has a firmer finger on the pulse of the club than he did before. He looked kind of like a deer trapped in the headlights for a while there. Not anymore.
Oh, when you walk into a situation with the 2 DPs and all the mess that came in before you, you're gonna kind of 100%. Like
he looks like that sort of albatross is off his back, which is really, really nice. You know.
Yeah. I also liked. I guess worth pointing out. I also really liked Sifu in that game.
Yes.
Yeah, he was great.
Was excellent as well. Really came as advertised, and that was nice to see because he had really some up and down performances throughout end of the season. Wasn't able really to make the impact that a lot of people are expecting, but with a full off season heading into training camp, it seems like, knock on wood, that he's healthy. I think he's a player to watch and super important player potentially for this team.
If we get like 70%, I mean, I'm stuck on that 70% figure, but 70% of what he was at LAFC, watch out. Watch out. What a player. I mean,
prefer like 90% at least, but
me too.
But even even the way they use the midfield, by the way, it's going to cause problems for a lot of teams. The dropping into a single pivot with Alonso, double pivot with Ozo or Sifu, stretching the field, going high, having Georgie drift out to the left if Richie's bad. Like, their movement seems pretty well in sync for how complicated in times that field can be, and the way that they set up can be. But it did, if they can get that down, and it seems like they're pretty well on their way, that's going to cause problems for other teams and will make progressing the ball and keeping the ball easier than what we've seen at the times when, the word I'd use for TFC over the past 5 years was just goddamn predictable. They were so predictable.
Disjointed, afraid of going up Route 1, definitely afraid of taking any attack up the center.
Yeah, and it always seemed like whenever another team would press TFC, the inevitable would happen, where they eventually close the ball to a point where they have no other options. Whereas now it definitely feels like they're creating patterns that allow, people like Alonso to get on the ball and have multiple different outlets, or someone like Walker Zimmerman at the back to find gaps to break lines. And I think that part's really important for this team to get right. And it seems like, with the trio that they have there of Ozo, Sifu, and Alonso, even you mix in Georgie a little bit too. I mean, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how worried are we that these patterns scream for someone to be at the tip of the spear, and so far we don't have that special someone? Are we worried? We've got 3 weeks to blood the number 9 that's going to save this franchise from itself. And
that was going to be my one sort of criticism, quote, air quotes.
A lot of that play was looking for a guy that's not there. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, that guy, where is he already?
I think, look, DeAndre started this game, and I just think, in the end of the day, I think we know kind of what, maybe this is unfair to say, but I feel like we kind of now really kind of know what DeAndre is going to be, right? As a striker, we kind of know.
I mean, at that tempo, with those kind of looks, it was like a Saint Laurent or whatever team he got the TFC scoring record on. I kind of expected a bit more out of him. I know it's preseason, but with his heading ability, just lob some crosses in there and have him get on the end of them, right? They weren't really marking that tight in the defensive box. So yeah, it's a little disappointing. I wasn't expecting an Ayo Akinola kind of breakout explosion, but I was expecting more. That was a game that played to his strengths, and he just didn't deliver.
Yeah, I think it was just Maya, because there was a little bit of the hold-up play. Felt like balls bounced off him a little bit. And at times where Michael, to your point, right, the team wants to keep possession and wants to be able to make those sort of moves on the pitch, and I felt like at times it was hard for him to hold the ball up. You know, and you do need a 9 to be able to do that if you want to retain possession and play around. And then I thought, again, criticism, and I'm just saying this from if you really want to nitpick, I think that's just, it's the glaring piece that this team is missing right now.
Me too. I would agree with that.
And it just showed itself again, I think, in preseason. Again, a 2-0 win, and it's hard to criticize a 2-0 win, but
yeah, here we are.
But here we are, right? And I think that just goes into sort of the next topic about the roster in general, and the makeup.
1
of the
second.
roster. Yeah.
Welcome back, Turts. What do you make of this comment from our guy Turts? If you sign someone good enough, I wouldn't be worried about trying to learn the system. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I'd
Granted,
agree.
like, yeah, strikers feed off service, right? Out of any of the positions, maybe excluding goalkeeper, it's kind of like plug and play as it can be in this sport. But again, this is the guy that's potentially got the weight of this entire franchise and all of its fan base on his shoulders. Like, let's just add in like throwing him right into the deep end, you know, at high tide. Like, we got it at a certain point. We've got to maybe realize that it's not ideal. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think Kurtz's point is more so like, if you get someone good enough, it's going to be an upgrade over the number 9 that we have right now. So, I mean, if you're expecting someone to come in and score 2 goals a game right away, might have a little bit of that, but yeah, there's going to be some ups and downs naturally, but you just ultimately want to improve the position. Give, like, to your point, Mike, like, offer something different at the number 9 role. Right.
Yeah.
You almost need, and I love, like, one of my favorite players in MLS all time to watch was like Tati Castellanos. You need a little bit of that bulldog in you, that ability to press relentlessly, to leave something in on a defender, to make lives for center backs difficult, to be able to run. Again, like, when was the last time we've seen a TFC striker have a legitimate, like, breakaway? I don't remember the last time DeAndre Kerr did that. And DeAndre Kerr made a living out of doing that in the first 2-3 years of his career. And now, you know, to your point, like it's now more about the hold-up play for DeAndre Kerr. It's more about capitalizing on, like, the, you know, specific runs in the box to get a toe on a ball or to get your head on the ball. Like, those are the types of goals DeAndre Kerr now has to score, which, you know, he is actually pretty decent at, but it's everything else too that you kind of want out of your number 9. It's just, you know, clearly, I think it's like you said, they need that upgrade, and yeah, hopefully it comes soon.
Well, you know, let's get into it, because we are now we're February 4th. This team plays in more than a little over 2 weeks.
21st,
yeah, 17 days.
Yeah, 17 days till the season opener. Look, they're going to get enough preseason matches to get fit, so that's not the concern. The concern is the quality on the current roster, and is it enough? And again, I think we're the three of us at least are confident saying that there will be signings coming between now and the 21st.
I don't know if I'm confident anymore.
Fair enough.
I am very, very scared, actually.
I mean, my concern is I think there's signings coming. It's just the timing. Like, is this front office leaving it a little late? Look, though, we get it. The window just opened. I know. I get the window just opened, and it runs into March. I understand that, but a lot of teams in this league have already done the majority of their business already.
Exactly.
Right? So
measured against every metric, like, not just us being butthurt about this Josh Sargent situation. Every metric, like, go on social media. Every other MLS team feels like their work is done, and we've just started, right? Like, there's a genuine sentiment of that, proven out by empirical.
But is that like reasonable? Like, is this a reasonable thing for TFC fans to be like, kind of like, what? Considering, again, the window just opened last
I'll
week.
turn it around, Mike. I think it's unreasonable for this front office to expect this kind of patience out of us yet again. Honestly, I can easily turn it around. Like, you know, we're not. This is our kryptonite. Like, stop shoving it in our face and get something. Like, figure it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think
Yeah, I mean, look, I again, there's sort of two halves to this. One is, okay, I think because of the Josh Sargent news and, thinking about a winger and things like that, that has become prevalent in terms of what TFC fans are sort of hoping to see before the start of the season. On the other hand, we did sign sort of some of the key pieces we needed very early, like Walker Zimmerman got done early, Tiz Pereira's done early. I mean, you needed a number 2. You got Yarbrough, that's done early-ish, right? Like before camp starts. So, or just as camp starts, I should say. So, I mean, on one hand, like some of that work was done early. I guess some of the consternation from TFC Live is like, couldn't you not have got sort of the number 9 settled?
Exactly.
Earlier?
You had one job, and that job says number 9 on the box. I mean, the fans are baying for it. And you have to think that it's just, you see it borne out in so many comments, generally around the same basic sentiment. I'm not sure I trust that there's a number 2 on that list. I'm not sure that I trust that the number 2 is of the same pedigree as the number 1 choice. I have a feeling whoever's next, once the chips fall where they may in this Josh Sargent debacle, is not going to move the needle at all. And it's too important to settle for in this situation. Like this team's supposed to be, master negotiators, but all we're seeing is them just getting worked by like Norwich City in the championship. Do you know what I mean? Like just getting worked by another front office, and this wasn't the way it was supposed to be. It's so soon after getting worked so badly by those 2 guys that I will not name. It just seems like it's a habit with this club. We wanted them to have a slam dunk, and this wasn't. This was the furthest thing from it. Like, this is embarrassing.
I mean, I understand the frustration. I take a little bit of a different viewpoint to it, just because.
Of course you do.
I understand like the negotiations and how things can go kind of behind the scenes. I think I'll tell you guys this: if you were to ask Jason in the front office like a month, 2 months ago, if they would have had more signings in the door at this day, they probably would have said yes, right? And I think that was their goal. But I mean, I'm also of the mindset of like, let's not make signings for the sake of making signings, right? They've got to be the right signings, especially when you're talking about the level of investment that they're talking about here. Like, you're talking about key marquee players that Toronto FC want to bring into the side. So that matters. I know, and I know it also matters that you want them there to start the season. You want them there as part of training camp. But like, what's more important for them to get a player in 2 weeks earlier to ensure that all their boxes are checked and their T's are crossed and their I's are dotted, and they do everything that they need to do to ensure that this is the player that they want and the player that they need at this point. So like, I always kind of side of it, but I understand the frustration. Like, especially after the last couple seasons, everyone wants new blood, everyone wants those new signings, and I get it.
And we want to see our club be the winner in these machinations, not like not like, oh, thanks for Josh Sargent, here's your 20 million pounds. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, we wanted to start the season on the right foot. You said something really interesting, Mike, and it was like, if you had asked Jason and the front office a month ago, well, and they would have said that's a goal. Well, another one of their goals is to turn this team around, right? So now we're watching this goal evaporate into dust, and we're expected to be okay with the fact that it doesn't affect all the other goals that we want to share with this front office, but seem to be malleable, because when push comes to shove, we end up in this pissing contest with Norwich, like this international joke of a transfer saga. We needed the Seba deal. We needed Bez to go in without his tie on and just bring the guy home. We needed it. And again, I want to make a retraction before I forget. I said last week that we got Seba on a free. I don't remember everything. We paid a transfer fee for him. I mean, my point stands.
Well, the only reason we paid a transfer fee is because he came early. We would have gotten him on a free if he came in the summer. But
okay, so like, end of the day, that's my retraction. Getting back to the Sargent thing, like they haven't filled us with confidence. They had that, like, this was supposed to fill us with confidence. I'm very not confident.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Sorry, go on.
No, it's just, it is what it is. Like, you're in the middle of a transfer saga. Obviously, everyone knows about the negotiations at this point. You know, TFC have submitted their bid. They are, you know, hopeful that Norwich will bend and cave and be willing to, you know, eventually accept that price. Realistically, they're going to need to up their bid and get you know, an amount closer. But this is all part of the negotiations. You can't rush it when you're talking you know, a couple $1 million. And as we know, like, it's not like the purse strings have been great around Toronto FC the last couple of years. They burn money. So, you know, I do feel, as a, let's say, Toronto FC supporter, like, it's in a way, like, happy to see the club going out and being in these types of conversations at this level of investment for a player like this, because, you know, it would have been real easy for Keith Pelly and MLSA to just be like, no, you guys are going to be on like a stricter budget. You've failed too many times. You know, we're losing money. But the reality is they're investing more into this club. But they also need to be kind of stingy and smart about it in that respect too.
And that, there it is right there. I mean, this feels like our club sat down at a poker table. Oh, it's an open hand game. Cool. What's this hand like? It looks like a royal flush, but I think, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it just screams naivete. Like, they sided with the agent or Sargent or whatever. They thought that this move was going to unlock the player. It had the complete opposite effect. Now they're like waiting on some relegation clause while the team is like winning every game and like buying more forwards. Like it screams, this is too big for them. It really, really does. Like, after the debacle of overpaying for Insigne off the back of transfer market, like, you know, there's just too many signs to the like staring you in the face that this is too big. This is too big for them, right? And I hope to be made wrong, but like,
yeah, I mean, let's see how it plays out. There is the economic factor of it, like, too. Like, you're buying a player for Josh Sargent, let's say around $20 million. Like, the sell on after you get Josh Sargent, probably not going to drop too far below $20 million at worst case scenario too. So it is like, they want to make sure that they get that return on investment if they decide, you know, 5 years from now, 4 years from now, whatever that time frame is where Josh Sargent wants to move on, you know, that's still a number that they can easily recruit, but it's not going to be a kind of a diminishing asset in that aspect too.
You see all of these little mathy things. Like, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. Right? Like, see, I want this, I want that. I want to make sure that, like, it's like going to a car dealership and saying, like, so if I drive it off the lot and I get a flat tire, like, you're going to give me new tires, right? No, it's your responsibility. Like, like, all of these things are good, are nice to have, but sometimes you have to eat the shit sandwich. Like, you like.
But Jeff, that's what we did with Insigne and Bernardeschi to a certain extent, right? Like,
yeah, but that wasn't
eating
the shit sandwich. That was buying the company and making and eating and living on shit sandwiches. This is like the response to that debacle can't be, okay, next time we go in, we're gonna just play hardball and we want everything and we want to buy, and, you know, we've got a weaker dollar to the British pound, but we're gonna just ignore it. And and guess what? In 5 years, you know, whether he's good or not, whether he bloods in with the team, we also are really concerned about making our money back. Like, that's insane. Like, at a certain point, you have to be like, you have to take a wash on something. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't get any value for the Lorenzo signing and you didn't make money back. So what makes you think you're going to get both? Your next kid in your next.
Well, okay. Well, again, like, not to dwell on, it's just different situations, right? You're talking about two guys who were in their, well, Bernardeschi wasn't in his 30s yet, but like, you know, you're talking about a guy that was over 30, a guy near 30. You're talking about a 25-year-old striker who has a future, really probably physically hasn't hit his prime yet or just about to hit his prime. So the value of that player in, let's just say, 3 years should still be relatively good, right? Provided he performs, obviously,
he is
and things like
that. AF with Norwich. Like, he has good years. He has bad times. He's streaky AF.
I don't know.
Do we need to bring in his performances?
Jeff, I guess
with
my
the
question
American
would be,
national
what
team?
would be your solution? You think TFC should just go up their bid and just go get him And
No, because I think what Norwich
You want the
wants
biggest one?
when you do the exchange rate is absolute insanity for Josh Sargent. And I think that, after all of this, that PR, like, he would have to come in and be better than Giovinco coming back from Rome, playing New York Red Bulls in the last game of the 2015 regular season on his debut to make to quiet the mob. Like,
Yeah, I
that
think
is an
they'll be pretty
insane amount of
happy
money.
regardless if they get signed and he scores a goal in his first game. I think
For
teams
sure.
will
Just
forget
like
all
when
about
Jerome
this.
Defoe scored 2 on his first game. Remember how that one worked out? Like,
It was a
Hey,
great,
turn
that was a
into
great start.
Josie, all right?
yeah.
That was amazing.
I don't know. I mean, I think that now we're locked into it, and you're right. At a certain point, it's going to be lost. They're going to explain away. Like when you said an extra 2 million, nobody's going to argue with an extra 2 million, but that's not what we're talking about. Like, there is such a difference in our evaluation of the player and what
And
Norwich
that's
expects
why they
to
got to
get
play
for
the
him.
game. That's exactly
And
it.
so the only way that this happens is the bid goes up to the point where we're getting rinsed. And at that point, like, he's got to be
Well, that's what Norwich is saying
unbelievable.
right? That's what Norwich is saying, right? But TFC are confident that they'll get a number closer to their bid. This is just how the dominoes fall and the chips fall. But I understand the frustration.
So, Mike, in your estimation, do you think we see him before the regular season starts, or do you think this goes on longer?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't know. I don't have an answer there. I think TFC want to get it done before the regular season, right? I think TFC know that Josh Sargent wants to come here and play for Toronto FC. I think the longer that you wait, his transfer value does drop, and the odds of TFC getting that number are closer. But then the question is, how long can you actually reasonably wait, and at what point does it make sense to potentially move on to other targets too? That said, my stance, and really since this rumor dropped, has always been, I think TFC are confident they're going to get the player. Right? I think their confidence going to happen.
So let's spin it another way. If they're that confident, then why don't they just spend the stupid amount of money, right?
You can't. That's where you get into the Insigne. You're paying someone way too much.
Like if it's revealed that we get Josh Sargent in the summer because they were nickel and diming over like 2 million quid, right? No one's
gonna nickel and dime over 2 million quid. Like if it's like 10 million, that's like if they say, okay, you give us 2 million more and you get the player, TFC will probably give them 2 million more and get the player, right? But I don't think it's a question. And Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't. From what you were saying, it sounds like this is a little bit more than just an extra 2 million on a bid, right? Like
that.
I think the evaluation's quite a ways off, but
I think it's closer to 10 million, like the gap right now.
Yeah.
But like I think reasonably probably closer to 5. Now again, look, like what we're asking is MLSE, cash that check to get rid of Insigne, cash that check to get rid of Bernardeschi, cash that check to go sign Georgi Mihalovic, cash that check to go sign Josh Sargent. Like it's a lot of money. I think
boo-hoo, that's kind of what sports teams do. Right, that's kind of what's written.
That's what bad. That's what kind of bad sports teams do. Trust me, I'm a New York Knicks fan. I've seen the New York Knicks burn through piles of money on guys.
But the Yankees, when they were like world beaters, they were also the highest spending team in baseball, and the Dodgers are another example of that.
Yeah,
like at the end of the day,
different rules, man. Like it's a different market. The way that baseball is not compared. Like baseball is. So I know,
but if the dialogue ever becomes, oh my God, you can't ask us to keep signing and changing players, I'll be like, yes, we can. That's exactly what your job description is.
No. But
in fact,
my point is, like, I'm surprised. Honestly, I am surprised at TFC's level of investment after buying out Insigne, after buying out Bernardeschi.
Me too.
I thought they'd be playing a little bit more money ball
for like 5 minutes, and now I'm mad at them again. But I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, honestly, at times, like it's tough to. It's not really like, I guess it's gonna fall on deaf ears, but man, I don't really understand how a club, I do, but like I'm also feel like privileged for a club like Toronto FC based in Canada. Obviously, we know about that exchange rate. That's well documented.
This is very
be
fair.
able
100%.
to be the like top 2, top 3 spenders in Major League Soccer year after year, when there's clubs like New York and New York City and the LA clubs and obviously Miami and the same, like they're big market US clubs that don't spend to the level that Toronto FC aspire to be spending to. So that part, like to be in those conversations is cool, but like, yeah, when you're doing that on the back of 5 straight losing seasons, I don't think fans are gonna care about it that much. They just want, their players, and they want results, right? And I don't blame them. It's sports.
Yeah, and I think like for me, actually, the bigger because it's not even the Josh Sargent thing. Like it is to a certain extent, but it's like we probably need another left winger. There's no news about that. And look, again, I think it's coming. I think we will have 1 or 2 players in before the
Erickson Gallardo's coming home, guys. Left winger Erickson Gallardo. You know him, you love him. Played 5 minutes
last time. I think it was El Paso Locomotive or something. But like, yeah, I think like we're gonna have those signings in. If not by the first game, at least by the second game. Josh Sargent is the big one. Josh Sargent is the big one. Is if that gets done, or if they have to pivot to target to whatever that looks like. And I think, Jeff, to your point, like yes, you want to spend the money to get the target that you want, and I do agree to some extent. But also, if TFC just move off too quick and go for a target 2, then they get roasted for like, oh, you didn't stick in it long enough to get Sargent. Now you got this second-rate striker who could end up being really good for us.
They're fine letting him languish on the bench, so maybe we pivot and then get him next season for like $5. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't know if football works like that.
Timing's everything. But it's super frustrating, obviously, and this is why, even from like the club's perspective, they don't always love this information going public.
This stuff.
This blew up in their
about
face.
It for everyone.
100%.
But it could also benefit them long. Like right now, it feels like that we're in this kind of like wind tunnel. But if hypothetically a week from now, Josh Sargent's a Toronto FC player, it's not bad publicity for the club that they're able to, quote unquote, win a negotiation with a club like Norwich City.
That's
right?
That's not a terrible show.
I don't know if you win at this point. Like, I mean, you win by getting the player. Like, I don't know if you win the negotiation with your bid, right? Like, they're not going to accept 18, and they're probably not going to accept $20 million, right? Like, so
let's see.
We'll see. I mean, maybe they
if they were going to accept $20 million, if there was $20 million, not pounds, dollars,
Yeah.
I think this deal would have been done already. But
me too. Me too. The exchange rate is vicious. Anybody that's ever been to the UK on vacation knows that cold. Like it's vicious.
So,
absolute.
According to Tom and Paul in the latest like Athletic article, Norwich accepted a $28 million USD bid last summer
from Werder Bremen,
for Sargent to go over to Germany. Sargent backed out of that deal, decided he didn't want to go. But they're willing to set out the $28 million bid, right?
Cool. Do they have a time machine to take us back to this summer? Because time only goes forward, not backward, and everybody's valuation suffers by 6 months.
And that's exactly my point I'm getting to. Like, Josh Sargent only wants to go to Toronto FC. They've bid $18 million. Like, what's that number going to be? TFC have leverage in that aspect. Can they find? And again, I still feel that the club is confident that they're going to get that done.
All right, we will continue to as the sands in the hourglass pour through whatever they said on Days of Our Lives. We will continue to watch this drama. Shout out!
You're gonna do my thing.
Before we get to the Red of the Week, I do want to just really quickly. We kind of did this last week where we went through some positions and sort of looked at who's going to be playing where and what positions look like. I just wonder for you guys, is there a young player on TFC right now when you look at sort of the current roster, or at least the roster that went to training camp, that you could see vying for some decent minutes this year? I think there's. And by young, I mean like, I'm not going to count like Kobe and I mean, I don't even know if you could really say Kosi at this point, like Alonso. They're now established first teamers. for the most part. But is there a young player in this sort of group of
Three of them.
couple of young guys that they signed that you think will get some decent minutes this year and make an impact on the first team?
So essentially, you're talking about Stefan Kapor, Lazar Stefanovic, Adam Perlman,
yeah,
Adisa,
Sermancic,
and
Simmer.
Malik.
Do you want to count Zane in that?
Sure. I mean, yeah. Let's count.
I mean,
Zane,
he's a starting center back. He's going to
well, we don't know that yet. But
he's 22.
I mean,
yeah.
That's surprising. Like Kosi's only 23, and he has
what?
Yeah, but we signed him.
Kosi's only 23 years old.
23, and he has like 100.
Wow. Oh yeah, and we're forgetting.
Actually, let's not count Zane because we know Zane's going to get minutes. So
yeah,
I would actually not.
But we will count Jules
like
Anthony. We
4 or 5
forgot my boy
players.
Jules Anthony Vilsaint.
Yeah, like a pool of like 4 or 5 players. Out of those players, for me, it's Lazar. Like I think he has the best chance of getting meaningful minutes for this team. Like when he was coming up, super, super highly rated. He had some moments last year too where he looked like he was more than comfortable slotting in at center back, left center back, at times fullback. Like he does have a little bit of that more positional versatility, and I think maybe some of the other options there. Also, as we talked about briefly on the show, like looks like he's grown a lot.
Yeah,
so for me, like I think Lazar is probably the candidate out of those players to get more minutes than anyone else.
Jeff, any thoughts?
Malik's my shout, 100%. You can play him across the front line. I wouldn't put him in at striker, but like, why isn't this kid getting more minutes? Like, comes on,
he started
TFC.
He started the friendly.
Comes on, immediately assists for the Canadian men's national team. I mean, this guy's our star boy. Let's give him some runway here, 100%. And then after that, I would say Jules Anthony because I'm also pretty high on our man Jules.
Fair enough. I probably agree with you. I think it's Malik. I think Lazar's a good shout as well. I just feel like they will give the majority of the minutes to Montlouis and Gomes beside Walker Zimmerman.
It's Henry Wingo's season, guys.
Yeah, well, you got to figure out what you're going to do with him at some point. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be Malik against that. I would like to see. I would like to see Adam Perlman. I'd like to see what he can do, but I also feel like they may send him out on another loan. Just in terms of just the numbers and, you're not going to need to carry that many defenders. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he went on another loan. But I would like to see Adam Perlman. I saw him quite a bit in the CPL last year out in Halifax, played really well, really acquitted himself well out there for Patrice Geyser's team. And he played at various positions. I think someone in the comments said he played a little bit of right back, played center back.
He was a good prospect too. Like when he was coming through, like a really, really good prospect.
Yeah, and he also looks like when I saw him at TFC 2, he's gotten a bit bigger. Even from last year, he got a little bit bigger.
He was always interesting because he's not really like center back size.
Mm-hmm.
Like he definitely would play on the smaller end of a center back, but he does have the versatility, like you mentioned, to definitely go out like as a right back.
Cool.
Yeah, I just think he's the odd man out, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a weird. Yeah, it's really since he broke through like to the first team. There's never really been any kind of pathway,
any space
for him to get opportunity.
Yeah. But I'm interested in Malik just because. Look, whether we do bring in another winger, I do think we will. But even if we do, I think he's somebody who can give you like instant energy off the bench.
Let me ask you guys this: Would Malik come off the bench before Derek Etienne Jr.?
God, I hope so.
I think he should. I think Robin likes veteran players who know a role and can play a role, and that's why I think why Derek Etienne is back. I personally would play Malik over Derek Etienne Jr. But again, I think Robin actually really likes Malik. I think he really does like Malik as a player. I just think, if the two are on the bench and he's looking at them both to come in like the 75th minute to make an impact, I think he may lean towards
Come on,
Derek Moore just
Derek.
because of the experience.
Agreed.
And that is why we fail. Turtz had an interesting comment. Don't know why I'm not high on Vilsaint at all. My answer, Turtz, have you seen him in the flesh? Have you? Because he is an impressive specimen. Like he is like 6'3", built like an absolute brick shit house. Like he fills me with he makes me feel things.
I saw him in that friendly, and he got bounced off the ball a couple of times.
A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying
again, friendly.
But a friendly, yes, exactly.
Sample size last season definitely showed promise. Like, I'm honestly like, he's right neck and neck with DeAndre Kerr for me personally.
Yeah,
I love Kerr. Like, he's more of our like hometown guy, but like in terms of ability to make an impact on a game, I don't know if Kerr's ahead of Vilsaint in that aspect or that component. Like Kerr coming off the bench versus Vilsaint coming off the bench, like. I think Vilsaint can make a bigger impact, to be honest.
I agree. If as long as he stays healthy, I'm really worried.
I'm not against that.
All the injury scuttlebutt I heard.
Yeah, if he can get through the injuries, and he needs service as well. So that's the other thing.
But his hold-up play, I mean, it better be good considering the size of the guy. It better be good hold-up.
Yeah, and he's actually got pretty decent plays and like shown to be. Really
he's speedy. Yeah, he reminds me of Josmer. He's like big and has really soft feet, like surprisingly soft feet.
Got a little bit of that Prince of Wusu in him.
Yeah, what's our thoughts on Simmermancic? Is he going to see a lot of minutes this season? Because I like him. I like him. Yeah.
What do you like about him?
I like his name.
I met his mom actually at a Jay's event.
Nice.
She's really nice. And watches the show. She actually recognized me.
Well, then he's number one player.
Number one player. Marcus Sanchez, number one TFC player. I think like Adam Perlman, he's kind of in a weird position where he might be kind of an odd guy out. Like it's interesting because he started the first 2-3 games last year. But at right back, as I remember, like he started as
some brain farts, but I mean, of course, like
again, I think a player that is tidy with the ball, and I think is a player that I think is just a little bit more attacking than where they were playing him last year. But again, I just look at sort of the midfield if you're going to play him as a midfielder, and I just don't know where he's going to slot in.
There's a lot of question marks on that left wing.
What's his position? Like what is Simmer?
Well, he came up as a midfielder, right?
Yeah, I have him. I have him on the chart.
But what is
everywhere but striker?
Like, is he a left mid? Is he a central midfielder? Is he definitely? I don't think he's a 6, but like.
No, I don't think he's a 6 either.
Is he? Can he play like? Can he be a winger? Like, is he like he? It's a good problem to have, but also like. At the same time, you don't see that clear pathway for him. He's going to be a useful utility player for this team where he can plug in a bunch of different roles, like a light Nick DeLeon, to your point, Jeff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's just what is he as a player? And it's unfair to say as like he's 21 years old, so still a ton of but I just don't know what he's aside from a guy that maybe can be one of those connecting pieces. Like, I don't think he's a goal scorer. I don't think he's really a setup guy, but he's like kind of that.
He's like a shuttling 8, kind of a lot of energy, tidy on the ball, can pick out a pass.
Yeah, isn't he like a box to boxy kind of guy, or is he more of a like?
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, what does that?
We don't know.
Mean now, like what I mean. Like what does that mean now in the modern game?
The box is 2 yards.
You can maybe sub him in as a defender. He has some experience there. I wonder if that eventually becomes kind of the Kosi project, a guy who came up as a midfielder, more of a in theory, an attacking-ish player.
It could be a year where they try to figure it out, right? Like or maybe have an idea and it develops into something. Because like I don't think anybody had Kosi as a right back when he was coming through. Like he was more of an attacking midfield.
Remember that preseason in Austin where he was scoring goals, and we thought he was going to be the second coming of our great goal scoring Frank Lampard-ish midfielder. Yeah, that was going to be Kosi.
I mean, it's like the year when Bob Valley took over and he put Jacob Schaffelberg as a fullback and as a fullback, which by the way, Jaquil is now a fullback. So
Yeah.
that's also
I keep thinking of Noble Okello. I don't know why he keeps flashing into my head, because that was a guy who, like, physically you were like, oh my God, figure it out. You'll be the best and we love you. But he just kept
Noble
tripping
should
over
have
his own
worked.
feet.
He just, like on the ball, Noble was just
A
silk.
disaster.
He was silk. He was amazing. He just could never it just never, it never clicked.
What did you
with
call him?
TFC.
Like, he could have
that's
been
what a lot of,
Kante,
unfortunately,
like your favorite player. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's just what happens with a lot of the academy players that come through, right? Like,
Not good enough. Yeah.
not that they're not good enough. I just think pathways get muddy when they get here, right? And okay, we're looking at Kobe and we're talking about Kosi, as guys who have found roles in the first team and are solid contributors. But not a lot of academy guys, not to make this into a bit long academy discussion, but a lot of them find it hard. We're talking about Adam Perlman. He's an academy guy, and he, now he's here, and we're like, he's the odd guy out,
Yeah.
Same thing with Marcus. He's kind of the odd guy out. How do you build pathways for these guys to really get an opportunity? I don't know. In a club that's going to be willing to spend to fill holes.
It's a great question. I mean, look, very quickly. I mean, there's been no academy player that's developed into a legitimate starter for TFC, unless you want to count Ozo.
No, and Ozo wouldn't count that.
No, he wouldn't count it either.
No one's developed into like a.
What about at other MLS clubs?
MLS, there's that. But that's also the second point I was going to make. Like, because TFC are very much a team that traditionally likes to spend to the salary cap. You can also use young players as, a currency to go out, sell, and be able to invest more into your first team and the top end of your first team, which they have done in recent years as a strategy. So it doesn't necessarily need to have people breaking through to your first team, although that would make sense financially when it comes to the salary cap, but it also unlocks another tool if you decide to sell someone on who doesn't have a clear pathway. So, the Jacob Schauffele, for example, like the theory was that Richie Larea was coming in the Jaquil problem is that Richie Larea was coming in and he was signing a long-term deal with TFC. So Jaquil had no pathway forward. Right. And that's okay sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's got to be either one or the other.
Yeah, well, our academy players, especially midfielders, seem to be great center backs. Ask Ralph Priso, who's now become apparently now a national team consideration.
Are we actually going to talk about Vancouver today? I thought we were going to stay away from that.
No, we're not going to go into that. We're not going to go into that.
Good.
Let's just not. Okay, you know what? Let's just get into random red of the day, because I love your pick for random red of the day, Jeff.
Oh, awesome. Hey, we didn't get a takedown notice from Gang of Four for using that song yet. Yeah. So amazing.
Hopefully, we'll be fine. Just like 10 seconds. In celebration of Toronto FC's 20th season, we're looking back at some notable random TFC players that have come through. And if you are a fan of this club and have been a fan of this club for a long time, a lot of random guys came through this team in the early years. We talked about one last week, and we talked about one of Rowan Ricketts. We've already brought up a few really interesting players, but Jeff, you've got one that I think like the heads will love.
This might be the most random of TFC players, but it's not. It's a mid-period random player, and in the interest of since we're talking about World Cup and everybody's having World Cup fever, we got to talk about Julio Cesar. We have to. I have like 2 solid pages of his superlatives. Like, the man has some serious honors going on, like 5 Scudettis in 7 years in Inter Milan, the Champions League title. Obviously that year they won the treble, the 2010 FIFA Club World Cup, goalkeeper of the year twice, UEFA Club Goalkeeper of the Year, the Brazilian goal. This is a weird one. The Brazilian goalkeeper with the most penalty saves in Serie A, with the Brazilian goalkeeper with the most clean sheets in Serie A, the most clean sheets in a single Serie A season for Inter Milan. And then you look at his international career: 87 caps for Brazil, played in 3 World Cups, 2 Copa Americas. He's got the national team record for the most minutes without conceding a goal. and we had him for 7 games.
What a time.
So, I mean, this is the scuttlebutt. Inter asks him to take a pay cut. He refuses. He goes to Queen's Park Rangers, plays 26 games, 24 in the league, 6 clean sheets, but doesn't matter. QPR are relegated after just 2 seasons up at the top, and he's frozen out as goalkeeper. So he had also been frozen out of the Brazilian team. And once Spalletti came back, he wanted to get back in that team very, very badly. So, hey, February 2014, loan to TFC. His debut away at Seattle. Jermaine Defoe scores 2. The ultimate false dawn game. Finally wins MLS Save of the Week, week 7, which is his last week with the team. His total TFC stats: 7 MLS appearances, all MLS, nothing, no other comps. 3-4-0, 2 clean sheets. My funny Julio Cesar story, of course, is that I watched the 2014 World Cup semifinal in a packed pub in Glasgow, and it was the same pub that I had watched the round of 16 match where he saved 2 pens against Chile. And I was like, he's the greatest goalkeeper in the world, and he used to play for my club. And then went back for the semifinal where he shipped 5 in the first half. Germany eventually winning 7-1, and then shipped 3 more to the Netherlands in the 3rd place game. What they lost 3-0, and then retired from international football. And that was that. I cede the floor to you, gentlemen. I don't really have any TFC stories other than the fact that I remember going to one game where he's playing. I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
What is going on?
I'll share the story of his first game, like, and the signing, because that was one of like Bez's first like major sort of inbounds, like, right, like as I remember, like even the Defoe thing and stuff, that wasn't really him, or he wasn't really a big part of
Payne?
that.
Yeah, it might have been.
I can't remember fully, but definitely I remember. Anyway, so he comes in to the team. Everybody's shocked. Everyone's like, "What do you mean Julio Cesar is signing for TFC? In what world? In what world is Julio Cesar going from the San Siro, right? Like,
to
okay,
BMO.
you could talk about Loftus Road, but still the Premier League." To little tiny ass BMO Field, no second deck only no second deck on the east side of the stadium, right? Like no roof. Coming into this team that is terrible. But that first game, like you said, a false dawn. It was a beautiful false dawn. Everybody that I've talked to that was there, if press or fans or watching on TV, was like, the feeling coming out of that game was we had turned a corner and now we were world beaters. It was happening. Yeah. We were going to win MLS Cup. Like if you walked into that, we played Seattle. I was in a packed pub with a bunch of supporters watching that game, and with Jermaine Defoe literally 2 of his first 5 touches of the game ended up in the back, which was incredible. And then basically it was Michael Bradley, Stephen Caldwell, and Julio Cesar basically being shelled for another 75 minutes, trying to keep us eased to win the game, right? So that was an incredible time. And then the other thing I will say about Julio Cesar is when he left, they had a weird, like, not weird, maybe it could be genuine, I don't know, but they like had this going away thing for him when he left, when he was going off to the World Cup, and he like bawled. Like he was like crying and saying like, this was the greatest 3 months of my life or whatever it was. I'm sure somebody can find it on YouTube. It's on YouTube somewhere. I
gotta find that. I have.
But like basically he was like bawling, leaving TFC. Only, like you said, he only played 7 matches. But what a time. So, and I'm pretty sure I knew a guy who had a Julio Cesar TFC keeper kit. So if you've got
like
one,
match worn or just
I don't know if it was no, I think he bought it. But like, and they weren't really doing keeper kits at the time, so I don't know how we got
really
it.
Like,
yeah,
I mean, you got to be in the right.
If you got a Julio Cesar keeper kit out there, send us a picture, put it on Twitter or Instagram, and send it to us. I'd love to see that because I know someone has it out there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, just insane the magnitude of the move. Like, this was a starter for Brazil, the World Cup. Like, Brazil. We're talking biggest biggest footballing country in the world, having their starting goalkeeper find a way to come to Toronto FC because he needed playing time ahead of the World Cup. One only thing, like, you guys touched on everything. Yeah, Gilberto. I'm sure like the Gilberto's links was like also huge for that. I'm sure Gilberto and Cesar, like, I think Cesar helped Gilberto settle in a little more from afar. That's my guess is. But the only thing I'll say is, like, everyone who you've talked to about this move, and we've always brought this up randomly because it is one of the most random things in
It's
media.
so random. It's so random.
But everyone who you talk to always has like on the field, okay, whatever. Like, it was hit and miss, but it was just cool to see Julio Cesar, Brazil goalkeeper, play for Toronto FC. But it was like, apparently he was just like a super, super, super nice guy, and like embrace the moment of being in Toronto FC, and not.
It's awesome.
And like, we have a bit of PTSD about stars coming over and maybe being bigger than the club. Like, it was the exact opposite by all accounts for Julio Cesar. So that part was cool. Cool to see him embrace Toronto. And I'd love to get his like honest thoughts on Toronto at this point in time. Like, what exactly did he actually think of his time in Toronto? And obviously, like, it was super cool seeing 2014 World Cup commentator saying Toronto FC.
But until it wasn't. That's your Toronto FC goalkeeper that can ship the 5th goal to Germany inside 40.
Well, no, he wasn't a Toronto FC goalkeeper at that point because his contract literally ended at the start of the World Cup.
I thought the way that when I was researching, the way that sentence was written when his loan was recalled, that it was after his performances at the World Cup. But then I looked at the date, which was July, and I was like, I don't know if that washes, but I didn't want to,
He was recalled July 25th.
Yeah, well, that was the understanding. Like, he wasn't. I don't think he was going to be playing at TFC after the World Cup.
No.
Yeah, he came here to get minutes for sure. Like,
yeah. And then it went back to QPR and got 0 minutes because of his performance at the World Cup. So, like, yeah.
I don't think his contract was over though, but I think there's definitely the understanding that he would not be returning, like he said.
Yeah. And if you do want to, Ryan was helping us that the goodbye is on an episode of All for One. If you go back to 2014 All for One, you will find that
if he says this was better than my 7 years winning Scudettos for fun at Inter Milan, I might get that tattooed on me. I have one more super fun fact. I don't know if you remember this, but he was the second Julio Cesar to sign for TFC.
Yes.
There was Julio Cesar, who played 0 games, 1 preseason match, and was released 2 months later by TFC. They picked him up from Sporting KC a year before, 2013.
Yeah, or something like that. That was a Mo Johnson special.
Yeah. So, yep, he was the second best Julio Cesar at
ever play for Toronto FC. I'm telling you, man, these random
this club, man.
This random Reds. I think I'm up next week.
You should have done that as your random red, Jeff. It should have been like my random Reds, Julio Cesar.
You know what? You're so right. My God, did I ever bury the lead there? I am so sorry, everybody. Can we just imagine that I did that instead? Because that would have been so fun. 0 appearances, 0 goals, 0 minutes played. My random red, Julio Cesar, and you guys are like, what? Huh? Yeah, like,
no, I would have remembered in a sense that he was on a preseason roster at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm enjoying the random brand. I love this.
I love it too.
It's great.
That was my first attempt, and I'm pretty happy with how I did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think I'm next week. I'm gonna hit you guys with a good one. Nice. Okay, guys. Any last thoughts before we head out for this Wednesday evening?
I can't wait to come back next episode and talk about some signings, guys. I'm so looking forward to that.
Well, if you want to leak a little something,
I have nothing to leak.
I know.
I'm not that guy.
Mikey Singh leaks a lot of stuff with his facial expressions. You just gotta read deep.
You
into
can definitely
them. Yeah.
catch me. Like, one or two
Yeah,
times,
just
but-
read deep, rewind, go back.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of you are gonna go rewind the video and keep looking at everything. It's like, oh, that's what I meant.
No,
That's
no,
what I
I'm
meant.
going. I'm going directly to All for One 2014
Do it 14 all for one.
to find this beautiful clip that I cannot wait to see. 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, again, everybody, thank you for tuning in to this week's Toronto Till I Die community bump in. Saw some new names in the comments. So if you're new to the show, again, thank you for joining in. Come back every week. We just do this. We kick it about TFC. You can jump in the chats. We're building a nice little community here. Really love it. Find us on all the socials. Just search Toronto Till I Die. And you can find us, if you're listening on podcast version.
Multiple subscriptions to YouTube. I want to be
just
at 1,000.
hit the like and subscribe.
Forget the like, just hit the subscribe. Who cares about
that
like means
fine.
not subscribe. Get your mom to
Likes
do
help.
it. Get your I want
Likes help.
subscriptions.
Yeah.
If I had to choose.
But yeah, definitely subscribe here on the YouTube channel. We are on Instagram as well at TTID Show. So you can follow us there as well. We drop some clips from the show on the Instagram channel and also just share some fun stuff on there as well.
Yeah.
And of course, we're on the Evil X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. You can see our handles in the video here if you're listening on
number one
podcast
Norwich.
version.
Jeff at number one Norwich fan. That's me.
Yeah, .com. He's taking that website. All right, for
.co.uk.
For Jeffrey P. Nesker and for Michael Singh, I'm Mike Newell. We will see you next week. Cheers, everybody. Bye.
And wait, and baby, I'm TFC till I die.